Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mark and Rob's Sports Showdown. What do you got for us today, Rob?
Playoffs? Don't talk to me about playoffs. Are you kidding me? Playoffs?
All right. Well, that's a strange one, but we got some strange picks for you today, so stick around. We're going to talk about the play-ins, and we're going to talk about all the playoffs in terms, including who's going to win the finals and be in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. We're going to start with the games that we have tonight. We have Los Angeles at New Orleans. Rob, I'll let you go first.
Well, I picked the Pelicans because I think Zion's going to have a fairly good game. He's got not eating any more donuts, so he looks in shape. So I think he'll be okay.
All right, I'm hoping he has a breakout playoffs, but he'd have to win first, and I don't think he's going to win tonight. But I am hoping for him. I think that the Los Angeles has the experience. They got two of the top 10 players in the league. Everybody knows that is Anthony Davis and LeBron, and I just think that's what's going to happen tonight. What about Golden State at Sacramento?
Oh,
It's the
at
9 and 10.
Sacramento, I lived in the Bay Area, got to see the Warriors, but they're not the Warriors that they used to be. I'm going to go with the Kings.
All right, I'm going to go again with the experience, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if Curry seems to come up big in the playoffs, and he did last year. Remember, he got 50. So, all right, so you're taking them. We have two different picks. That's good. That's why it's called the showdown.
That's
All
right.
right, so, all right. So that's going to be tonight. Tomorrow night, you got Miami at the Sixers. I live in Philadelphia. If people that don't know that is listening, I've been here 30 years, and I'm going to take the Sixers, not just because being a homer, but because I think they're the better team and they're at home. What do you think, Rob?
Well, I would take the 76ers, but being a Knicks fan, we want revenge for last year. So I'm going to pick Miami because we want Miami.
All right. So let me also say that Embiid is back. He played well when he came back. They rested him. He hurt his knee again, but they rested him. Hopefully he'll be playing. And I just think Tyrese Maxey is just on a tear right now, and he's one of the best players in the league. And I think playoffs is going to be his coming out party. That's my personal guess.
Miami picked up a Rozier from Charlotte, and he's helping it out a lot with their shooting and also defense. So that can help something. They also have Jimmy Butler, who he comes through in playoffs. So
he does. He hasn't had a great year, but we'll see what happens. All right, so Atlanta at Chicago. What do you think?
I got Atlanta. They got Young back, and they got a nice little squad. He's been out. Young's been out most of the year, but I think Atlanta could beat Chicago.
Okay, and I'm going to take Atlanta also.
Oh.
See how Trey seems to come up big in the playoffs, so I'm going to go with Atlanta. I'm going to start big and go backwards. I'm taking just up front. I'm taking Boston, and I think the addition of Jrue Holiday and Porzingis is big for them. They got two other stars, with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and I think they've put in their dues in the playoffs. As most people know, a lot of teams have to struggle first before they win an NBA title. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes the team just comes out of the blue and wins the title, but most of the time, the team that wins the title got knocked down and struggled and got beat by better teams, more experienced teams in the playoffs, and then they get their turn. And I think that's what's going to happen with Boston. So that's what I think that's going to happen. I think they're going to beat Denver in the finals. What do you think for that? Just who do you think is going to make the finals and who do you think is going to win?
Well, since everybody's not picking my Knicks, I'm going to have them. They're going to upset, as they say, upset Boston and be in the Eastern Finals to go against. And I'm going to do another thing. It was OKC, the Youngbloods.
You think OKC's is going to be in the playoffs?
Yep.
And what makes and you're taking the Knicks all the way?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
So then,
I know without Randall, they really needed him. Of course, I'd be more secure. But it's not a hard pick. They can play against Boston. I think they can match up against Boston, and they've given them a little trouble during the season.
So you got a player that gives them 24 points, like 7 rebounds and 5 assists or whatever, and you think that they're going to win the NBA title without Randall?
Right, they can do it. They're tough. I've watched them play this year. Without him, they're not as good as him. Of course, they're not as good without him, but they've been playing pretty well without him. The team has come together. Great coaching. Defense has stepped up. Randall, he's like I said, 25 points. But then on the negative side, a lot of turnovers and fouls. So sometimes it's not. It's kind of hurt the team. But I mean, just because he scores 25 points, which like I said, that is a big factor. I would feel more confident if he was there, but he's not there, so you have to deal with it. And they've been doing that.
So it sounds like you'd be predicting him to win whether he's there or not.
Yeah, either way. Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. If he was there,
no matter
he was
what,
there or not, I still would pick them. You are correct.
Because we advertise as having intelligent commentary. I just want to say this for the record. I don't think the Knicks are going to win the NBA title, and I think that is going to hurt them. Losing Randall is going to hurt them. I'm going to tell you, besides the statistics I just read off for you, when you get in the playoffs, really good to great players become more important in the playoffs because the teams become better. So it's more important for you to have star players to overcome the good teams. So I'm going to disagree with you completely. I think they're going to lose to the Sixers actually when they play each other. If the Sixers end up winning tomorrow night, but we'll get to that. So I want to let people know that I do not think his theory is correct, that they're better off with Randall and that they're going to win either way.
I didn't say they were better off. I said they did. It would be better with him, but since they don't, they can still win because they've been playing hard and they play in defense.
All right.
So I didn't say that.
And why do you like OKC?
Oh, I love the young kids. They're running up and down the court. They've been playing really well. No one's watched them because we're on the East Coast, so nobody's really seen them play. So Oklahoma City's got SAG, a candidate for most valuable player. I think he's in second place for the voting, and then they got Chet Holmgren, who didn't play last year, but he's putting on a show. He's living up to his name.
Okay, they have the home court advantage, but I think Denver looks pretty similar to last year, and I think Denver is going to beat them. But first, Denver has to beat Minnesota if Minnesota and Denver both win their earlier games.
I think the West is very hard. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. That's probably why I think you're picking the Nuggets to come out, because the East for Boston is an easier path to make it to the finals than the other teams in the West.
It's definitely an easier pass. Do you give the Clippers and Dallas or Phoenix making any noise? Any chance of them making any noise?
Well, of course, with Dallas, they got Luka, and they got Irving, which if he gets his head together. But yeah, Dallas. There's a possibility. Yeah.
If he gets his head together, what are the chances of him not having some kind of brain fart throughout the playoffs?
The world. If he gets back to thinking the world is round and not flat, I think they'll be okay.
Wait a minute. The rounds, the floor.
He thinks the world is flat.
You mean it's not?
Yeah, I know it's round like our heads. It's very round.
Yeah. I've been going to the Earth is flat conventions for over 10 years now, and I am convinced it's flat. I see Kyrie there all the time. He's in there. So anyway, yeah, I mean, OKC, I hesitate picking up against OKC. They don't have a lot of experience in the playoffs because they got a lot of balance. They got balanced scoring. They got Jalen Williams too, who puts in 19, and Josh Giddey. So I hesitate picking against them. But
so Mark, you have to put in the factor also that though you said that because the Knicks don't have their star player and star players do step up during the playoffs, you have to realize that the factor comes in like last year, Miami, who was the 8th seed, came up and they defeated the Boston Celtics. Now and they went to the finals. So you also have to put in. That's why the Knicks is the heart of the players and the coach. I mean, playoffs come up and sometimes, the stars are supposed to step up, but they don't. Sometimes they don't. Randall didn't do that last year. But he tweaked his ankle. And that kind of limited him a little. But sometimes the stars don't step up during the playoffs. It comes down to where
Well,
Very-
it's a 7-game series, so they might not step up for 1 or 2 games. But it's rare for a star to be silent an entire series. It can happen.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
James Harden is good at that.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah.
So,
Mr. Travel.
anyways, I I think I can understand why you like OKC. I'm going to tell you why I like Denver because they're balanced and experienced. They have 6 guys that average 10 points or more, and they got the great duo of Jokic and Jamal Murray. But like Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon, and Reggie Jackson, the basketball player, all average and Pope. They all average between 10 and 16 points.
Well, the key with Denver now for them to win is Porter, Michael Porter Jr. I've watched a few games for the end of the season, and he was hitting those 3-pointers. He was on point. If he is on, then I believe you're probably right. Denver will repeat, but I think their key player is Michael Porter Jr. How he plays.
Yeah, he's averaging 16 points right now.
Right, he's
and 7 rebounds, so that's 16.7 and 7 rebounds.
yeah, he's
So,
the key.
I think Jokic, it looks like the best player in the league for the most part. You can argue about that, but that's
No argument. I agree with you. There's no argument there.
I'm just saying, Embiid sometimes look great on some nights, but he's not healthy all the time, and Jokic seems to be available.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
that's why I'm going with Denver. OKC would scare me if I was any team in the West, but I got to pick somebody, so I'm going with that. Minnesota, of course, is a threat to win it too.
With Anthony Edwards, he's a dynamite player. Anthony Edwards,
Anthony Edwards carried the team during the summer. That was like coming out party even though they didn't win the gold medal. I think they only came in fourth.
Right.
I think that he really got a lot of confidence from being the star of the national team in this summer, even though they didn't have all the stars that they got coming up. We'll talk about that in another video. So I do think he might have his coming out party too, but that doesn't mean they're going to win the championship this year. He could win a couple games for him and play great. And I would be worried for them too. I mean, those 3 teams are really good teams, and I think they're dangerous. And Karl-Anthony Towns is back. Karl-Anthony Towns is back. And they got Rudy Gobert, who gives him defense. They give him scoring and rebounding. And, he's got 14 points and 13 rebounds, and he gives the defense. So they got 3 really good players, and they have a veteran point guard in Mike Conley. So I would think they're a little scary too.
So who do you think is going to give them the Nuggets their toughest competition, you think?
That's tough. I think they're going to have a hard time against both. Well, probably OKC because they have the home court advantage. So they're going to have to win, a game there, or maybe 2 or 3 games there, if they lose at home.
And Denver's got that psychic with the mile high. They put it on the floor. They put it on the uniforms. People come in there and have you ever been to Denver?
Say that again?
Have you ever been to Denver?
I've never been to Denver.
I've been to Denver, and it does affect you. You do get that. That's lower level people. It really did affect me. That my first day there, I'd never been there.
Well, Minnesota's going to have to deal with that because Denver's a 2 seed. If I'm assuming they both get to that point, but OKC will have to deal with it only 3 games potentially at the most, and Minnesota might have to deal with it 4 times.
So they're going to have to sneak 1 game in Denver, a win in Denver. Maybe
more. It's unusual for a team to win all their home games in a long playoff series. So yeah, that's a problem.
Do you like the? I mean, I think the format used to be 5 games. Do you like the 7-game format or 5-game format?
I think that if you're going to be eliminated in best of 7, it should be every round you should be eliminated. Why make it unlucky for you in the first round? So it made no sense to me.